Hello there. Welcome to my show, COVID-19 Update by Heerak. It's the third month anniversary of this show. We started on April 2nd, and 3 months later, here we are. Yes, it started in spring. And we've celebrated May 2nd, 1 month anniversary. Most Christians know this song. It only takes a spark. And that's so true. You know, it started with Jesus Christ, one person who is also God. A lot of people are going to die from COVID-19. When you want to go to heaven where Jesus is, eternity, in the arms of love of God. Yes, that is waiting for those who are true Christians. So there's no time like now to connect back with Jesus Christ because it's coming, right? A lot of deaths are coming to America, whether you like it or not. And yeah, a lot of people died already, and a lot of people are going to die during the second peak, which is from June to August. It just started when U.S. Supreme Court issued a protection order for LGBTQ in the workplace. That's when God got angry and it just started a flood of COVID-19 infections. Yeah, it just, you don't want to anger God because he controls the viruses. He controls every cell in your body. So it's not a smart thing to anger God. God who gave us Romans chapter 1. Especially because God promises to send his wrath in Romans chapter 1 if we proliferate homosexuality. So yeah, the second peak was triggered when God's anger was triggered. It's unfortunate. As you know, I'm an independent candidate for U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th District. And I ran as a Republican from November to February, and but I ended up not running, continuing to run as a Republican. So I switched over in March to being independent. So I'm not affiliated with any political party since March, and that made me or that gave me the requirement that required me to submit 1,000 signatures to Virginia Board of Elections by June 9th. But unfortunately, Governor Ralph Northam issued a stay-at-home order on March 30th to last until June 10th. He announced that on March 30th, making it impossible for me to collect any signatures. So I wrote to Virginia Board of Elections asking them to waive my requirement for 1,000 signatures that I have to submit as an independent candidate for U.S. Congress in June or on June 9th because of the executive order. I sent this letter out on March 30th, the day that Governor Northam issued a stay-at-home order to last until June 10th, day after the deadline. About a month later, I heard back from Commissioner Roy Piper, who is the top person in the Virginia Department of Elections. And he said he didn't have the legal authority to do that, unfortunately. I wrote to Governor Northam asking him to give me a waiver because he obviously has the legal authority. He's the executive power in Virginia as the governor. He's a Democrat. He's the one who issued the executive order, but he hasn't written back yet, even now. So I ended up having to file a lawsuit against Governor Northam on June 3rd because he didn't write back, and it's his executive order that prevented me from being able to collect the signatures. So I filed that lawsuit with Virginia court system, judiciary branch, specifically Arlington Circuit Court. That's been filed. And those of you who've been following that on my Twitter account, Heerak for Congress, Heerak for Congress, you know that Sheriff's Department in Virginia served Governor Northam and also Virginia Department of Elections. So basically the court system will be setting a court date in the future since they've been served. Obviously, I submitted everything on June 3rd. So when you file, that's the day that the lawsuit starts. So it's before June 9th. So I am in this race until November 3rd. Lucky for you. So my campaign, Heerak for Congress, filed with IRS, second quarterly report. Generally, when political candidates run, goes by quarter system. So the first quarter is January 1st to end of March, and you have to file it in April. The second quarter starts from beginning of April, April 1 to the end of June. So today is June 2nd. So Heerak for Congress, that's my campaign committee, filed with IRS second quarter filing. Obviously, my campaign is registered with IRS as a political campaign committee. So, they say, two things are certain, death and taxes. So they have these rigid filing requirements, So that's IRS, Department of Treasury. So I officially filed. Obviously, I'm the official candidate. I'm an official candidate for independent. I'm an official independent candidate for U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th District. So obviously, Heerak for Congress committee has to file these official forms with the Department of Treasury, specifically IRS, Internal Revenue Service. So that's done today. And there's a separate filing that has to be done that is with Federal Election Commission. And Federal Election Commission is a federal body that monitors all political candidates. So every political candidate who's running for a national office or federal office, that's the President of the United States for the executive branch, US senators, and US House of Representative members. So obviously, I'm officially registered with them because I'm an official candidate for US Congress in Virginia's 8th District since November. Yeah, so, and obviously I'm also registered with US House of Representatives, Office of the Clerk, because I'm an official candidate of US Congress in Virginia's 8th District. Yeah, so I'm registered with all the required federal bodies, and IRS is collecting data, Federal Election Commission is collecting data, US Congress, Office of the Clerk is collecting my data. You know, I'm official. I am official. And obviously, Governor Northam is trying to push me out of the Virginia ballot by having this executive order go from March 30th to June 10th. But lucky for you people who want me as your US representative, I filed that lawsuit with Arlington Circuit Court. And Virginia governor has been served, and Virginia Board of Elections have been served. So we are waiting on the court to force them to give me a waiver, and I will be officially on the ballot. So yeah, it's an exciting summer for you. It's an exciting summer for me. We are duking it out with Virginia Governor Northam, and yeah, I intend to win. I mean, I feel bad for the guy because it's his election year next year, 2021. Governor Northam is up for election, and he's like trying to block me out of Virginia 8th Congressional District ballot in Virginia. It's not going to make him look good. He may lose. Well, he may lose the election just because of that. Or the Democrat who's running for this governor position. You know, either way, it's going to hurt the Democrats. So even if Governor Northam is not the one running, it will hurt the Democratic Party. Because Governor Northam, whether he runs or not, he represents the face of the Democratic Party. So Virginians all over Virginia and in Virginia's 8th district see what Virginia Governor Northam has done as an epitome of old boys network corruption. And so they identify that not only with Governor Northam, but with his political party, which is the Democratic Party, because I'm running against his buddy in the Democratic Party, Dan Beyer, a wealthy millionaire. I'm just a humble immigrant from a little dinky country called South Korea, which is like the size of New Jersey or smaller. And I'm running for US Congress because I believe in the system that every American citizen can run for an office, US Congress or Senate, and be able to win, because that is what makes America great. The fact that any American, regardless of their education level, regardless of whether they're immigrants, regardless of whether they are wealthy or poor, they're working class or white collar job, they can run for a political position and win. And this is what makes America a democracy, because this can't happen in countries like China, and even in democracies that are less developed, this can't happen. But because in America, we have this system which is trying to be fair, it allows anybody to run for office, and only thing you have to have is your citizenship. So even if you didn't graduate from elementary school, you could run to be a school board member, you could run to be mayor, you could run to be city councilman, county board member. I mean, you can run for all these positions, whether you're educated, like Elizabeth Warren, who's a professor at Harvard, or not. And that's what makes America great. So I encourage all of you to run for office, especially if you are against abortion like me and against gay marriage like me. Affiliate yourself politically with me. Vote for me on November 3rd, 2020 for the office of U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th District against Don Beyer. But also you should run in year 2021 because all the Alexandria City Council positions are open for year 2021. So you can run and you can win. Yes, you can. I am the living proof that anyone can run for office and win. And that's why you are sharing in this miracle. Because I'm just a humble immigrant from South Korea. I didn't know a word. Well, I didn't know a few words of English, but I didn't know English when I arrived in America. Started at Philmont Christian Academy in 5th grade in Arlington, Pennsylvania. And, people were trying to teach me English. So they would hold up like apple and say, apple. My fellow 5th graders. And, they're really nice, and Scott Meekley was there. Scott Meekley is now an emergency room doctor in Pennsylvania, in Hershey, Pennsylvania. Scott Meekley was there. He's a good guy, he's I can't think of anybody better to be an emergency doctor. When he was in high school, he did volunteering fireman and he did like EMS. Oh my gosh, I'm like, where do you find the time to do all this? Because his dream was to become a doctor. And his mother, and father, I respect a lot. They're great people. And they adopted a lot of children, and they went out of their way to adopt children with disabilities. You know how when people adopt, they want to adopt people without any problems, and they make an issue of that? But Scott Meekley's father and mother, they purposely went and adopted children who had disabilities because they were thinking, these children will not be adopted. So we want to adopt children no one wants to adopt. Children with problems who struggle throughout their lives because of these disabilities. And so Scott Meekley's mother and father, they adopted these children with disabilities. And, I saw that and I said, this is what sets Christianity apart from all other religions. And, Scott Meekley's father and mother, they don't talk about it. They don't brag about it. They don't, it's a personal relationship with Jesus. And they're doing this because their testimony is, Jesus Christ loved me, so I'm going to love someone. And Jesus Christ loved me enough to die for me on the cross. And I don't deserve this salvation, but Jesus Christ still loves me to give me this salvation. So I'm going to give love to someone who doesn't seem like that person is lovable. No one wants to adopt them because they may have Down syndrome, and or they may have a congenital heart defect. They may have growth hormone problems. So their family members abandon them when they're born because of their disability. And and they're not popular adoption choices. Scott Meekley's mother and father has several children. Scott Meekley, Caroline Meekley. Caroline is pretty and she's really kind-hearted as well. And I can see where she gets that kind heart, probably from her parents. But this is not just the Meekleys. I know many Christian parents, families who adopt these children with disabilities. They do that because they want to show love to children who are rejected not only by their parents, but rejected by all the people who want to adopt children. And you know, when you look at that, you know, you ask yourself, how can people abort children? You know, like there are a lot of parents who abort their children because they have a DNA test and find out there's a high chance that their child could have Down syndrome or, you know, some kind of growth hormone defect or, you know, or some kind of congenital heart defect, you know, whatever, or they have probability for higher levels of cancer. Whatever the reason, there are parents who abort their children and kill them. So let's not mince words here. Abortion is killing children. And then there are Christian parents like Scott Meekley's parents who go out of their way to adopt children with disabilities. They are looking for children with disabilities who need most help. And that's not just the Meekleys. I know a lot of good Christian parents all over America who adopt children with disabilities. That's what they do. They see that as God's calling for them to show love in a world that is lacking in love. And that's the reason why Christianity has become the greatest religion. There are over 2 billion people of every nationality. Because there is something truly beautiful about Christianity that doesn't exist in other religions. Because you will not find Buddhists who adopt children with disabilities. You will not find Muslims who adopt children with disabilities. You will not find Hindus who adopt children with disabilities. You will not find Jewish families that adopt children with disabilities. If you know one, email me. Tell me that I'm wrong. I've traveled the world and I've researched and read many books. I have not seen anything in other religions that come close to Christianity. And that is why I am proud to be a Christian. Obviously, I grew up in a Christian home because my parents were Christians and my grandparents were Christians. But if I had to choose a religion, Christianity, I would say, is the most beautiful religion because of what it represents, right? In a throwaway culture where parents want to abort or kill their own children through a complicated medical procedure like abortion, Christians say, no, we're not going to kill our child because they have growth hormone problems or congenital heart defect or some kind of undergrown limb or, yeah, this is only in Christianity. You go to any country in the world, disability is, you know, it's like a death sentence. You know, I talk to Korean families, like my uncle, you know, my cousin has autism, and my uncle said, you know, one of the reasons why he wanted to immigrate to America is because child has a disability, and if they lived in Korea, you know, the child may be institutionalized for having autism. And I think in the past, America might have done that, but as good-hearted Christians started to emphasize sanctity of life and quality of life for those who have conditions, we had the American Disability Act, and laws were passed to help people with disabilities. This doesn't exist in other countries. Even in Europe, people with disabilities, they suffer tremendously, even in structural law. Look at Iceland. Iceland has a policy to basically kill all children with Down syndrome. So they have 0 Down syndrome babies being born because they're all killed by policy. Because Europeans don't like disabilities. I mean, you have the eugenics movement that was in this country as well among non-Christians, but also in Europe among non-Christians. And they push eugenics. That people with good genes are the only ones who should be born. So abortion is killing people who the society or the parents don't feel that they have the right to life because of what the society calls a defect. But Christianity is not like that. Christianity is against abortion of all kinds because Christianity says all babies are precious and they should not be killed regardless of what kind of conditions they may have. And that is why I encourage all of you watching this show right now, Hindus, Muslims, Jews, to consider converting to Christianity because it is the only true religion. I'm not ashamed to say it. I'm not like Ted Cruz. I don't believe that all religions are equal. I believe that Christianity is one true religion and it's the best religion, and that America would be a better place if everybody became Christian. And that's why I am running under the campaign theme, Bring America Back to God, because America that becomes more Christian is necessarily better than America that is diluted with other religions. That's my position. And that's why I want to bring America back to God, because Christian America is far better than a diluted America. And that's why Southern Baptist Christians preach the gospel to convert Jews to Christianity. Liberty University is dedicated to converting Jews to Christianity because Liberty University believes that Judaism is a false religion. Same with Oral Roberts University. Oral Roberts University is dedicated to converting all Jews to Christianity because Oral Roberts University considers Judaism as a false religion, that 100% of Jews go to eternal damnation in hell who don't believe in Jesus. Obviously, if you convert to Christianity, you're no longer a Jew. And that's why Bob Jones University believes that all Jews go to eternal damnation in hell. Biola University believes all Jews go to eternal damnation in hell. Dallas Theological Seminary believes all Jews go to hell. In fact, 100% of evangelical Christians believe that all Jews go to hell if they don't accept Jesus Christ. That's why they share the gospel, because that is their show of love, to change you from your religion that is going to destruction to Christianity that is going to heaven. And that's why Jesuits have their Christian missions. There are many countries in the world which would not have seen Christian conversion if it weren't for Jesuit missionaries. Jesuit missionaries are active in Korea. There are Koreans who were Buddhists who were converted by Jesuit missionaries. Some of them become Jesuits themselves, Jesuit priests, after converting to Christianity. For Christianity, the concept that Jesus is the only salvation has been a motivating factor for the religion from day one. And it is the reason why churches exist, to fulfill the Great Commission. It's not just about a social club where friendships are born or forged. No, and it's not only about singing songs. Churches exist to share the gospel, to convert other people to Christianity, because Christianity fundamentally believes that all other religions are false. There isn't an evangelical Christian in the White House who believes that Ivanka Trump will go to heaven, or Jared Kushner will go to heaven, or their 3 children will go to heaven if they don't convert to Christianity. So I would like to see Ivanka Trump convert to Christianity. I would like to see Jared Kushner convert to Christianity. I would like to see 3 grandchildren of President Trump convert to Christianity who are children of Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump. Because there is no salvation in Judaism. All Jews go to eternal damnation in hell. That's what every single evangelical Christian in White House believes. You can't change their position because that is the fundamental position of Christianity. All Christians who are evangelical believe this. That's like 200 million Americans. Salvation is only in Jesus Christ. It's not in Judaism. All Jews go to eternal damnation in hell. That's what evangelical Christians believe. 200 million evangelical Christians in America believe this. You cannot change their mind. Because it's a fundamental position of the Christian church. This is a Christian country. Over 300 million Americans identify themselves as Christian. Some are more religious than others, some are more culturally Christian, but they identify themselves as Christian. And rightly so, because it's the best religion in the world. When my father had a Korean church, and when he was a senior pastor, he's retired now, in Philadelphia, First Korean Presbyterian Church of Philadelphia, over 40% of the church members never went to church when they were in Korea. They came to America and they were moved by the beauty of Christianity. So they went to church for the first time. A lot of Koreans also believe that all Jews go to hell because salvation is only in Jesus. You will not find an evangelical Christian, whether they're Korean, white, black, Hispanic, who believe that you will go to heaven apart from Jesus. And that's in the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. And that's in the Hispanic caucus as well as in Black caucus. There's no white caucus. And that's in Asian caucus as well. Because that is the core issue in Christianity, without which Christianity would not be Christianity. And that is why I hope that Ivanka Trump will convert, because obviously 200 million Americans believe that she's going to eternal damnation in hell. I wouldn't be surprised if her brother Eric Trump and Don Trump Jr. also believe that, and Tiffany Trump as well. They probably won't say it because they don't want to offend their sister, but that is the official position of the Christian church. Why do you think we have missionaries? Because we want to convert people to Christianity, because we don't want them to go to eternal damnation and be tortured by Satan forever. And so my platform, my official platform, is bring America back to God. And the three top things that I would do is, number one, in the order of importance, illegalize homosexuality. Because homosexuality is considered the greatest evil by the Holy Bible. And that's agreed by Muslims, Jews, and Christians who follow their religious text. So that's the first thing I would do, because if you become a homosexual, you go to eternal damnation in hell. There is no salvation for you. So it's our priority to stamp out every last homosexual from America so that no child is tempted to become a homosexual. It's priority number one, because gospel work requires this change in America. Because how are you going to have gospel work saving lives when young children are becoming gay or homosexual or having sex operations to become transgender? So that is why it's a priority number one, to legalize gay marriage, legalize not only gay marriage, but homosexuality itself. It's a priority from a Christian angle, from the Christian gospel angle, but more importantly, God's law demands it and requires it, and we need to fulfill God's law's demands. Because God is God who acts in history. He's not just going to let things slip. If you allow homosexuality to proliferate, God will send the plague after plague after plague until you comply with God's law. And as I have shared with you before, COVID-19 is judgment of God on America because of homosexuality. Until we illegalize homosexuality, you're not going to escape the wrath of God. This is just a simple law enforcement by God using his holy angels that he did in many different periods of history, and something that we can see in the Old Testament as well and the New Testament, Book of Revelations. And so we go back to thinking about what it means to make the world a better place. Making the world a better place is where boys and girls are happy with their gender, that they're not confused by their public school teachers in Arlington County Public Schools, Alexandria City Public Schools, Fairfax County Public Schools, and Falls Church Public Schools to consider a sex operation to surgically remove their penis. That is not what makes the society better. That is not what makes your children better. That they're so confused about what their elementary school teachers, middle school teachers, and high school teachers tell them in Arlington County Public Schools, Alexandria City Public Schools, Falls Church Public Schools, and Fairfax Public Schools, that they consider having a sex change at the age of 12 because their teachers don't stop talking about it. Public school teachers. Because there are gay and lesbian teachers in Arlington Public Schools, Alexandria City Public Schools, Fairfax County Public Schools, Falls Church Public Schools, who have an agenda to make your children into homosexuals, gay or lesbian or bisexual, or become transgender. So they will teach your children in their classroom in Arlington Public Schools, Alexandria City Public Schools, Fairfax County Public Schools, Falls Church City Public Schools, that these children should consider gayness, transgenderism. And it's gone so bad in Arlington Public Schools, Alexandria City Public Schools, Fairfax County Public Schools, Falls Church Public Schools. These teachers and principals are requiring your children who are 12 years old to read gay romance literature at a very sensitive age, brainwashing them to experiment with gay sex. You should pay more attention to your children, what they're learning in school. And you're telling me that Don Beyer is your man to represent you in U.S. Congress when he supports this? Don Beyer supports Alexandria City Public Schools, Arlington Public Schools, Falls Church Public Schools, Fairfax Public Schools, teaching your children to consider having a surgery to remove the penis to become a girl. Don Beyer supports this. And you're going to vote for Don Beyer? Are you kidding me? When U.S. Supreme Court passed a law to protect gays, lesbians, transgender in their employment, they are protecting teachers who are brainwashing your children to have gay sex at age 12, to consider cutting their penis off at age 12. That's what U.S. Supreme Court justices supported and defended. Do you see why God is angry? Because God said, let little children come to me. God loves these children. U.S. Supreme Court do not. U.S. Supreme Court justices do not love your children. God loves your children. And that's why God sent COVID-19 to stop the process of homosexualization of your children, transgenderization of your children. Public schools in America in the current form does more damage than good. Do you know why these public schools want to meet? So they could hide from you and continue to brainwash your children. That's why they don't want to do online learning, because you can monitor them on Zoom. and hear everything they say, you could record it on your computer, and you could sue them for endangering a child. But if they're in their classroom, they could say what they want. They could brainwash your children to have gay sex. That's why they're so eager to bring your children into school so they could continue their brainwashing program. They don't care about your children's lives. The fact that they could get infected with COVID-19 and die, they don't care about that. They just want the opportunity to secretly brainwash your children, or brainwash your children without you hovering over their screen watching what they're saying. America is in a mess, partly because you as Supreme Court Justice, they're protecting gay people, LGBTQ, in positions of power and authority, in their employment, to brainwash your children. Why do you think God is so angry? Because God doesn't want your child to go to hell by becoming a homosexual. God doesn't want your child to cut off his penis and become a girl because his gay teacher, his lesbian teacher is brainwashing him to do so. In his 7th grade class, 8th grade class in Fairfax County Public Schools, Falls Church Public Schools, Alexandria City Public Schools, Arlington County Public Schools. This is God's love. God shows you he loves you because he sent COVID-19 to stop the public school system from brainwashing your children. You should be thankful to God. Yes, it is a punishment for homosexuality, but God shut your child's brainwashing mechanism down. Supreme Court is under the power of Satan. That's why they want to protect these teachers who want your children to have sex change. They don't love your children. They love Satan. That's why they protect the power of Satan in America. These Supreme Court justices. But God cares about you. God loves your children. That's why he sent the second peak. But shouldn't you take your time and energy to protect your child's mind from the corruption that is being infiltrated by public school teachers in Arlington, Alexandria, Falls Church, and Fairfax County who want to push transgenderism onto your children, gay sex experimentation onto your children? Shouldn't you take responsibility for your child's spiritual life, his future potential to form a family that's Christian family? You should take some responsibility. But you are a bad parent, so you take no responsibility. This COVID-19 crisis is a blessing in disguise because now you have a chance to be the parent that you should be and fight against LGBTQ rights. Say enough is enough. Stop trying to brainwash my child to have gay sex. This is your chance to be your child's hero. So as we see COVID-19 spiking, what should be your priority? You may die in the second peak. You may die in the third peak. Your child may die in the second peak. This is the time that you should become a good Christian parent for your child. So that if you die during flu season in November, your child will remember you and say, my parents truly loved me. They shared the Bible with me. I became born again Christian because of the gospel that my dad shared with me. That should be your legacy. You may die in November from flu. What do you want to leave your children? You're talking about things that are irrelevant. Whether President Trump wins or Joe Biden wins. As I said, if President Trump does not aggressively fight LGBTQ, if he supports their rights, you must vote against him. Obviously, you should not vote for Joe Biden either because he supports LGBTQ. You must vote for someone who is opposed to LGBTQ. But as a Christian, if you vote for President Trump when he supports LGBTQ rights, you will go to eternal damnation in hell because you are contributing to the destruction of Christian America. God will hold you responsible. When you die from COVID in November, you will be in hell, spending your eternity being tortured by God, God's servant Satan. Because obviously everybody's God's servant. Satan has to obey God. We see from book of Job, Satan had to ask for God's permission before he could torture Job. God doesn't let things happen. Satan has to get God's permission. So as we celebrate the 3rd month anniversary of this show, I want you to remember why God is doing this. Number one, God is doing this because he wants to punish homosexuality as he promised in Romans 1. God always keeps his promises. Number two, God is doing this to protect your children from public school LGBTQ teachers, administrators, principals, and vice principals who want to brainwash your children to experiment with gay sex at age 12. To homosexualize America. That's why God is doing this, because he loves you and he loves your children. God is doing this so that you will repent as a nation and bring America back to God. As I said, I'm running for U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th District as an independent candidate because there's a lot of corruption in the Republican Party. I had to tweet senators and House of Representative members who are Republicans who are standing up for gay rights. And they will go to eternal damnation in hell if they do not repent. They know who they are. I tweeted that. Yeah. Because it doesn't matter what political party you belong to. And as I said, I totally disagree with Senator Cruz on religious liberty. That's not what I support. I do not support religious liberty. I support Christian America, bringing America back to Christ. I will not talk about religious liberty. That's not what I care about. But Senator Cruz cares about religious liberty. That's why he didn't get the nomination. Because most Christians don't want religious liberty. Most Americans want Christian America. Because think about it, over 200 million Americans are evangelical. And do you think they want other religions dominating? This is why Senator Cruz did not win. Because he wasn't strong enough about emphasizing Christian America. And when President Donald Trump said, America will say Merry Christmas again, that resonated with all the Christians. Americans don't want to say Happy Holidays. That's why they voted for Trump. But if we have an America that equals Ted Cruz's America, religious liberty, then everybody will just say Happy Holidays. And that's not the America that Americans want. Americans want an America where you say Merry Christmas, where all religions are not equal, where Christianity is the dominant religion. That's what Americans want. So you gotta get with the program, Senator Cruz. Because I know you love Jesus, but you're confused by power politics. And you've been in establishment Republican circles too long. So your thinking is hazy. As I said, I am the independent candidate for U.S. Congress of Virginia's 8th District, and my platform is bringing America back to God. And my campaign promise to you is if you elect me to U.S. Congress, very first thing I will do is work toward illegalizing homosexuality, obviously as the law of the land, then use police force from FBI, Homeland Security, NSA, down to state police, local police, to arrest homosexuals in every state of the union, all 50 states, DC, Puerto Rico, Guam, and then have them processed through the US court system to have them executed. Minimum sentence is death for homosexuals in America, according to the book of Deuteronomy and the New Testament, which harmonizes into the law of God. So if you don't want that, don't vote for me. Because I'm telling you exactly what I'm going to do. If you vote for me and vote me into U.S. Congress, the very first thing I will do is illegalize homosexuality. If you want that, vote for me, right? That's my campaign promise. Second campaign promise is I will work to illegalize homosexuality. You know, right now, Congress has a second kind of like lighthearted, non-attention to illegalizing abortion. It's a problem. I will make that my priority number 2. And third issue, because there are so many Blacks and Hispanics, majority of them are Christians, I want to elevate Blacks and Hispanics in America in terms of equity so that they will have fairness and that they will be elevated to better economic standing, because there's a cycle of poverty in African American communities that I want to break. So that's something that I want to do. That's my third most important issue. And that involves healthcare and education. I'm a firm believer that we must reform our public school system. We need to bring Bible study back and Christian prayer back to public schools. And that's what I'll be working towards. Because Christianity in public schools is better than Christianity out of public schools. So if this is what you want, you vote for me. I am the solution to America's future. I am the key ingredient that is necessary to make America great again. Without these things, America will never become great again. And that's why it is wise for you to vote for me for U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th District on November 3rd, 2020. Because I will make America great again as I bring America back to God. And you're very fortunate and blessed that I exist in this world to save this nation from its own corruption. The Washington, D.C. establishment corruption, Republican Party corruption. There are a lot of gays in the Republican Party now that wants to infiltrate American society with its homosexuality message. And the Democratic Party that is thoroughly corrupt, that cares more about gay rights than U.S. citizen rights. And that's why you need me. So in a sense, I'm a God's gift to you to save you and your family from this satanic power that is gripping the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. I'm hoping that Ted Cruz will come back to the correct position. Marco Rubio will come back to the right position. And other Republicans who've kind of slipped into the danger zone. Because we don't fight for religious liberty. We fight for Christian America. I don't fight for religious liberty. I fight for Christian America. So you vote for me if you want Christian America. If you don't want Christian America, don't vote for me. You are free to vote for whoever you want. And you should practice that freedom to vote for me if you want Christian America. Election is November 3rd. I'm independent, so don't take Republican or Democrat box. I'm independent. You look at my name, Heerak Christian Kim, and then you vote for me. As you know, today is the 3rd month anniversary of my show, COVID-19 Update by Heerak. So we're going to do a comparison, but before we go into the comparison, let's look at the daily numbers. 640 people have died in the 24-hour period. And yesterday's total death figure was at 128,044. 24 hours later, the death numbers are at 128,684. And total confirmed cases are going up aggressively, like over 50,000 per day. And today is 2,735,339, which represents over 50,000 case increase from yesterday, which was 2,683,894. Now, for some of you, this is what you've been waiting for. And Harry's like, I've been waiting for that too. Leo is saying that too. And Ducky. Yeah, so when we started this show on April 2nd, US COVID-19 deaths were at 5,911. And then aggressively it built in the month of April, and over 60,000 died. So by May, we had 66,364 deaths. And then it started to get better, and the death rate went down to about 40,000, smaller, so like 10,000 less, or about 20,000 less than the previous month, to total of 106,180, and that was on June 2nd. And a lot of people were excited because they're like, oh, you know, COVID-19 is dying down. We can open up now. And as you know, we had a George Floyd protest from May 25th for 2 weeks. And that is partly why we're getting this peak. And from June 2nd to July 2nd, the death rate decreased to, it was basically halved, right? From 40,000, it would decrease around 20,000. So it's been decreasing by 20,000 since May 2nd. So 2 times in a row. So the total represents increase of a little bit over 20,000. I mean, still a large number. And we could have kept going that way theoretically, but George Floyd protests for 2 weeks, they got a lot of people infected. So we're seeing the fruits of that now in sharply rising cases that will eventually end in death. I mean, it takes people to get sick. You know, it takes a while to get people to get sick and sick enough to die. So it takes like 3-4 weeks for people to get sick enough to die. If you remember, COVID-19 came to America in March. Look at April 2nd, we didn't have that many deaths. Because it takes like 3 to 4 weeks for cases to get bad enough that people start dying left and right. So that's coming in 2 to 3 weeks. We know that because we've seen it in April. I mean, the cases came like in around March. And, you know, like Georgetown University shut down during spring break. It was like mid-March. Right? We didn't see that much death in March. Right? And everything shut down. Not many people were dying. But then it skyrocketed in April. And that's what we're looking at. 2 to 3 weeks from now, we're going to have a skyrocketing of all these deaths. And right now, 6% of all cases are dying. So that's basically remained constant, 5 to 6%. Yeah, so that's going to remain constant, 5 to 6%. The world trends are interesting as well. On April 2nd, we have 52,972 deaths. On May 2nd, we had 243,355 deaths. So we went up by about 190,000. And then June 2nd, we had 380,180. So it went up by about 140,000. And on July 2nd, we have 519,575. So it went up by like 140,000. So death rate's been kind of decreasing globally as well. But it's about to see a spike up because of America. And other countries are seeing a peak as well, like India, Brazil, Mexico. And that's kind of spreading as well. So we'll see which other countries will develop the second peak. US COVID-19 cases have been increasing aggressively. So on April 2nd, we had 244,678 cases. And obviously, look at the cases compared to death. Death always lags behind, right? Because on April 2nd, the death rate was what? 2-3%. Because it takes like 3-4 weeks for people to get really sick and die. And then it skyrocketed and remained like at 5 to 6%. So that's what's going to happen. Our percentage probably will go up, most likely. It may go up to 7% or 8%. On May 2nd, there were 1,127,712 cases. When you look at the death, that's around 5 to 6%, right? So it took 3 to 4 weeks for infections to end up in death in March. So that's where we are. Right now, we're kind of in March, where we're waiting for people to die in 3 to 3 weeks. Yeah, it's going to skyrocket. It's going to be like New York, but just everywhere, like Florida, California, Texas, Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina. It's going to be like that. June 2nd, we had 1,831,730 and 106,180. So the death rate remained around 5 to 6%. And today we are at 2,735,339 cases with 128,684. So around 5% death, 5-6% death. And then it's going to skyrocket in 2 to 3 weeks. World COVID cases have been going up steadily. On April 2nd, it was 1,014,673 cases. May 2nd, it was 3,421,834 cases. June 2nd was 6,376,822 cases. On July 2nd, it's 10,835,092 cases. Yeah, the death is coming, that's for sure, because look at this. Florida reports 10,100 plus cases today, one day alone. And in Georgia, we had 3,472 cases in 24-hour period. And yeah, in Arizona, you had 3,333 cases. In Texas, you had 7,915 cases. Just these 4 states, look at this. Just in these 4 states, you have about 24,000 cases. Just in these 4 states, 25,000 cases. 4 states, there are 50 states. United States is going tremendously toward death. It's unavoidable. Mexico and Brazil has shown us a tremendous number of people can die. Cases go up, death will go up. That's science. Look at April. April, there were only 5,911 deaths on April 2nd. And most states shut down in March. I mean, Virginia shut down on March 30th. But there are other states that shut down much earlier. And look, the deaths are only at 5,911 April 2nd. Because it takes 3 to 4 weeks for people diagnosed with COVID to develop serious enough symptoms to die. There are exceptions to the rule, but exceptions close the rule. I mean, Georgetown University closed its campus like mid-March. All the universities. Yeah, so death is coming. It's like Civil War. Civil War occurred in 1860, but the conflicts that were brewing for decades. Yeah, there has always been tension between the North and the South, because if you know, there was industrialization that went on in the North. In the South, it was more agricultural society. So economic tensions were there for many, many years, maybe even over 100 years. The tensions started building and eventually erupted into civil war. What I'm trying to show you as an analogy from history is it takes time for conflict to occur. And victory or defeat takes longer than that. And we see that in the stages of infection. There are 4 stages of infection. And the first stage is incubation period. Second stage is prodromal stage. Third stage is full stage of illness. Fourth stage is convalescence, or time you're healed. And for each virus, for each bacteria, each stage is different. Each period is different. So incubation period is when the virus enters your body and it's growing and multiplying in your body. As the photograph shows, you're not going to feel anything. There is no change in your body. You can enjoy everything you want. Organism is growing, but you don't feel it. Everything is normal. But when you get tested, you're going to come up positive. So let's say you got tested during the incubation period. If you have COVID-19 in your body and it's multiplying in your body, you're going to test positive, but you're not really going to be feeling it. But you will come up positive. So some of the people who are reporting their COVID-19 right now are at that stage, incubation period. And no one really knows how long that lasts for COVID-19. It's different for every virus. It could be 1 week, it could be 1 day, it could be 1 month. And the Chinese said there are over 30 strains, and they said that like in March, and there may be many more strains now. So it may be different for each strain, how long the incubation period is. So most people who are getting sick now, they got sick because of George Floyd protests. Some people got infected and they start spreading it to their friends, family, relatives. That's the majority of the cases are from George Floyd protests. So that was May 25th, but the incubation period could be weeks. We don't know. No one really knows. People are saying it's about 14 days, but no one really knows for sure. Prodromal stage, this is when you're most infectious, generally with most viruses, although there can be exception. So there could be exception with COVID. So the person is very, very infectious, but you don't see it. You're asymptomatic. Yeah, that's when you're most infectious, when you're not showing symptoms. So by the time your temperature, you do the temperature thing with the temperature gun. By the time it shows a temperature, you would have probably infected dozens, maybe even hundreds of people. Because you're kind of now at the end of prodromal stage or even in the beginning of full stage of illness. So by the time your temperature changes, you would have infected a lot of people because you went through the incubation period, and you're asymptomatic for most of the prodromal stage. Do you see why this thing infects a lot of people? Because by the time you have a high temperature, you've already infected like hundreds. Yeah, that's why this is spreading so fast. Because you don't know you have it, but you have it. Now, the full stage of illnesses, and that could vary for different people. Some people suffer more than others. And that could last anywhere from 1 day, well, probably much more than 1 day. It could last for weeks, it could last for months. And it's different for everybody. There's no rule on how long the full stage of illness is. A lot of people die. So during the prodromal stage, you do a temperature check and you find out you have a temperature, you wear your mask. Obviously, those masks are only 30 or 40% effective because they're made out of cloth. Cloth masks are not that effective, but I mean, they'll still protect you, but I mean, it's about 30 or 40% effective. Yeah. So you should wear it, but you can still get it if you talk to people. Wearing the mask. Now, during the full stage of disease, that's when you could be ventilated, or you could go into one of those oxygen cubicles, and they're using that technology even now with COVID-19. Yeah, some die, some live. So convalescence is when you've gotten over the virus. Some die. Yeah, so that summarizes it. So now you understand what the stages of infection are. So you can be infected even though your friend or your co-workers don't have a temperature, because they could be in the beginning part of prodromal stage. We don't know how long the prodromal stage lasts. We don't know. Yeah. Because it's different for each virus. Yeah, so so this COVID-19 promised to kill a lot of people. We'll do like a month anniversary show on August 2nd. We expect a lot of death by then. Tremendous number of deaths. Maybe even up to 10 times what we saw in March. Or maybe more. We'll see. We don't know, because most scientists don't know what this thing is, and they don't know what it can do. So let's see. I'll do my month update, and then we'll see. Yeah. But one thing that's important is I don't believe the liberal media. I think liberal media doesn't quite understand COVID. Um, yeah, they always talk about this going away and life becoming normal, um, and this may never go away. And as I've shared, I think a lot of nurses will die, especially during the flu season. I've shared with you, I'm predicting that at least 20% of my CNL 2020 class will die from COVID or COVID linked complications before Christmas. And I've identified the five because you have 25 members in the cohort. I've identified five, I think, who will die before Christmas from COVID. Hopefully not, but I think they will. Because once the flu season starts, there's no mercy. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm actually thinking probably more than five, anywhere from 8 to 10. So I've added names to my list. Obviously, I'm hoping that this list doesn't come true, but it may. So I want to do a cheer for my cohort members because I love you guys. So I want to, and some of you will die, unfortunately, by December. So I'm going to do a cheer for all of us. CNL 2020, CNL 2020. We did it. We're graduating in August. Yay! Yeah, so life is about celebrating. We have to celebrate these things, right? Why do we celebrate Christmas? Why do we celebrate birthday? Because life is about celebrating. So, yeah, we have the ball in our hand, right? It's like anything in life. Whenever we live in life, we have the ball in our hand. Now, what are you going to do with the ball that's in your hand? That's the important question, right? Are you going to squander it, or are you going to use it to do good? Yeah. So so that's where we are. So I hope that all of you, will be well, and I hope that you will vote for me, Heerak, Christian Kim, for U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th District, because I will make America safe again, and I'll make America great again. So I am your man for Virginia's 8th District. So I hope that you will be well, and that your family will be well too. So check back tomorrow for another exciting edition of COVID-19 Update by Heerak. I will bring you insights as the Leonardo da Vinci of the 21st century, insight that you need, insight that you're not getting from anywhere else. CNN, CBS, ABC, NBC, PBS, BBC, Sky News, they're not giving you the insight that you need to survive COVID-19 and other related things that are happening along with COVID-19. So check back tomorrow for this important episode that will give you the knowledge you need to survive COVID-19 and everything else that is happening. So I'll bid you adieu for now, and I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Bye.